While returning from attending a funeral at Laidley yesterday, Thomas McHugh had his brains dashed out against a tree through his horse shying. Death was instantaneous. John Williams, aged 9 years, a son of Mr. George Williams of Scotts Creek, near Murwillumbah, was fatally wounded by a shotgun handled by his younger brother. John, with his brothers, George and Charles, was cleaning up the dairy, and Charles went into the house and returned with the gun. He said to John, "What would you rather have, a rifle or a shotgun?" John replied, "A gun, if it's a long way off." Unknown to Charles, the gun contained a live cartridge, which was discharged, and John fell wounded in the groin. He died in the hospital the same evening. Andrew Victor McBean was killed last night through walking over the edge of a railway bridge and falling into the Whiteheads Creek. McBean, who was a railway engine cleaner, was returning to work about 8:15 after having delivered a message to D. McLaughlin, the driver. He was walking along the railway line in the dark, and it is supposed that he stepped over the bridge. McBean was 24 years of age and came from Beveridge, where his parents live. As Mr. and Mrs. Bell of the South Heathcote State School were driving into Heathcote last night, a vehicle which was being driven in the opposite direction collided with their buggy. Mrs. Bell jumped out over the wheel and fell heavily to the ground. She was immediately taken to Dr. Reed's surgery, and it was found that she was considerably bruised about the body. In the collision, both vehicles were badly damaged. It is understood that a prosecution will be instituted against the person responsible for the accident, as it is alleged that he was driving without lights on his vehicle. In the first quarter of the Geelong v University football match on the Geelong Oval today, Moran, one of the Geelong players, was thrown heavily in a scrimmage. He was carried into the pavilion. A doctor who was summoned found that Moran was suffering from a slight concussion of the brain. Towards the end of the third term, Moran reappeared in the field and was loudly cheered. The death of Mrs. Nellie Lockett, aged 21, under painful circumstances, was reported to the coroner Goldsmith today. The husband left home at Caraballac to get a doctor, and upon his return he found his wife dead with a live baby beside her. Ernest Hartney, aged 18, residing at South Sassafras, was out shooting rabbits yesterday at Ferntree Gully. While getting through a fence, the trigger became caught and the gun exploded. The charge entered his hand and he was taken to the Melbourne Hospital, where it was found necessary to amputate it. A bootmaker named Edgar Smith, 22, residing at Bathurst, was fatally choked whilst joking with his sisters at the dinner table today. Deceased swallowed his false teeth.